What's going on, everybody? This is DStyle. Just doing a quick live here with the one and the only 702. Is 702?
Yeah, Dave's in the 702 now, D style.
It's 702. Dave, I got to stop calling you 408. It's at this point, it's false advertisement. You know what I mean? It's incorrect information. But you still have the same number, right? You have the same area code?
Actually, people trip out. I got a 415 area code, which is like I've had that.
You're gonna find this funny.
I went from San Francisco. I was telling your boy Gabriel Montoya. I went from San Francisco to San Jose to Las Vegas.
Oh, so you don't have a 408 area code?
No, I've had my 415.
You know why I don't know this?
For years.
Because we're in an age where we save people's numbers for our cell phones, and we don't even.
Right, you just go straight to the contacts. You just look at the contacts.
You ever lose your phone? You're like, oh, I could just call so and so. Then like you realize you don't know any fucking numbers. Like
exactly.
You know what I mean? And first of all, it was good seeing you out there, brother. Like 2 days we spent together, for a couple hours.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what I envisioned moving out here, that, I would use my YouTube platform and all the friendships and business relationships that I've developed and just start opening my arm, like just opening up the hospitality, like, hey, you're in town. Let's fucking hang out. Let's do this. Let's go out there and do what we love, which is be fans at the same time. And amateur journalists, if you call it that, YouTubers, podcasters, and I think we executed. It came out pretty good. I think we were just talking about some of the interviews, the views you did on the interviews, and I got to tell the audience, because I haven't been on your show this week. I haven't been on your platform in a minute, but nobody was allowed to talk to Tim Tszyu following that press conference. Now, maybe inside it was a different thing, but outside of the press conference, it was only D-Style was allowed to talk to Tim Tszyu. And I don't know if you mentioned it, but Pitbull Cruz, I know we probably wanted to talk to Pitbull Cruz, but he's the only guy. I'm thinking now about how big
it was his agent, whoever that dude was.
Yeah, he had bodyguards. He's the only guy who has bodyguards.
All right, keep it moving. I was trying to get a picture with the guy, and it's the one I couldn't get there. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
But meanwhile, the 112-pound champion, what's his name, from Mexico, he's walking around by himself. He's the smallest boxer on the card, and he's walking around by himself like he's, absolutely not famous.
I mean, it was. That is crazy. By the way, Fundora, before the fight, no one knew who he was in the lobby. The fans knew, obviously, once it was in a boxing-related area. But it's, not everyone in the MGM is there for the fight. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But
yeah, he took a moment. If you guys, I got a picture. I'm looking back. He took a moment to pose with the flyer, with the big posters at the MGM. Like, that's me. That's you, bro.
Well, yeah, that's right. I'm sure it's still, even though they're in the limelight, it must be surreal to them. You know what I mean? Like
it must be, because he was posing that like, wow, that's me. Yeah, bro.
Like, you gotta pinch yourself, brother, because that's you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. So I want to talk about the whole thing, man. First of all, it was great meeting Glenn and a lot. I met Dr. Bill, the main doctor of Tim Tszyu and all that. He actually stitched him up after the fight. Yeah. So he's got his own.
He went right into that press conference with that. I'm like, he's gonna be going to the hospital, but no, he did the press conference.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he was stitched up yet during the press conference, though, because he was still leaking.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and I'm like, he's still leaky, bro. Like, this is crazy. But it was a good experience. And then, of course, where did we meet first? Was it at the MGM?
Yeah, we met straight up at the MGM.
Okay.
What's crazy is, for you guys that like Vegas and whatnot, this week is big. I kept telling these guys, this is my spot where I parked. The Tropicana in Las Vegas was closed yesterday officially.
Is that where we were walking? Was that?
Yeah, that's where I was parking. Like, to me, guys, there's so many YouTubers out there making videos on the Tropicana. Like, oh, we're so sad. No, nobody went to Tropicana, guys. Nobody's been to that hotel or been.
Well, everybody's feeling nostalgic all of a sudden. All of a sudden,
like, they boarded it up yesterday, and the only thing I give a shit about is, damn, I just lost my free parking. I'm telling D-Style, because we were parking there for 3 days for the events. I'm like, I just lost my free parking. Now I'm gonna have to walk like a freaking mile to go to these events.
Was it always free parking?
It's always free parking. Yeah, Tropicana is like one of the few. You know, like that's a nice perk, especially like nothing's changing. MGM will always be, I think, the premier casino for hosting the big fights. And even if it's at T-Mobile, you saw DStyle PBC, and they're still going to host most of the events inside the MGM, press conferences, media day workouts, the weigh-in, you know, like MGM's just so instrumental to the fight scene there. Like for Tropicana across the street to go away and my free parking to go away, damn.
Yeah, so we're there, and I cannot explain to you guys the mess that the press conference layout was, right? They were telling people at Tszyu's team that they needed a press pass, and they said this was a trainer. I'm like, that's his trainer, bro. What are you guys talking about? They actually made him walk to credential. Obviously, they don't have credentials. They're not media, right? And I'm there. I was outside. I was actually at video of it when I'm walking with the team towards the press conference. Glenn asked somebody in the team to look after Eric. I'll be back. Like, you know what I mean? And then I was kind of talking to them for a little bit. The whole team was great, man. So I think I met up with you, and then somewhere around that, the team made it in the through the doors, and I wasn't there, right? So I didn't get in the press conference, right? So I'm like, okay, no problem. I'll just wait. And we were waiting outside. We got yelled at. Like, why did we get yelled at again?
I was at overpasses.
I mean, but we weren't in there. Like what are we doing? Like, you know what I mean? This lady's like,
yeah.
You're against the wall right now. Like, okay, like whatever, lady. So anyway, Glenn comes out. Glenn's livid, right? When I tell him I didn't get in, and I introduced him to Dave. Everything happened so fast. I don't even remember who I introduced you to or whatnot. It just happened so fast. And then that's when he was, I'm going to introduce you to Tim, and he literally he grabbed. Didn't he tell you? Like, he told you to come here.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, that's what I was telling people.
And it was just out of nowhere. I was like, oh, I guess I'm gonna do the interview. Like, you know what I mean?
You got to do the interview. That's what we're here for.
Yeah,
exactly.
And it was a quick. It was just a quick thing. It was a quick boom, boom, boom. I kept it short on purpose. I don't want to take a lot of his time. And you know, I think I got the question I wanted to ask right away. I tried to ask him something that maybe I felt he wasn't asked yet in there. It was hard to know, right? But it was still good, you know, talking to him really quick. And then Glenn said, "I'll see you later, mate." He went his way. Before that, we met Ernesto Amador.
Right.
Great guy. No pues boxeo, and he's got a massive platform on here. You know what I mean? And
so shout out to Ernesto, because that, like, so DStyle didn't have the little microphone that I had brought at the moment. It just kind of like turned into like, we're going to say hello to him. And then just Ernesto just starts giving you a great interview in Spanish.
Well, here's the funny part, guys. So
he had a lot to say.
First Dave asked me, "You want to interview Martinez?" I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sure about my Spanish, and I don't know about that. And then he's like, "You want to interview Ernesto?" And I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm gonna go say hi to him, right? And this was, you know, his primary language is Spanish, so I started talking to him in Spanish. And I'm talking to Ernesto. By the way, I'm chewing gum because I'm not expecting to be doing an interview. And I'm chewing. If you guys go look at it, I'm chewing gum. And I'm just like, my sister even texted me. She's like, "You look like a damn cow chewing a gum. Like, what are you doing? You're not professional." Like, you know, but anyway, I noticed in the corner of my eye, Dave is filming this impromptu conversation, right? And Ernesto, like, just, I guess he's a list for the camera. He did it no problem. He gave a speech at the end about how all the Mexicans start hating on each other or something like that. And that's that. I guess he's getting a lot of hate or something.
Is that it? I did enjoy what he said. I mean, he touched on the Liam.
I told him el mejor, meaning the best, right? Like the best in the business. And they said, well, maybe, but the most hated, right? And then he went on a whole thing, and he talked about, let's stop hating on Canelo, let's stop hating on this guy and that guy. And he also said, but we do want to see the Benavidez fight at the same time. Yeah. And that was basically his message. So,
but what I liked about was we didn't bring that. I mean, he volunteered that conversation about that. You know, the fans deserve the fight with Benavidez.
Yeah, he asked for permission. He said, permite en un momento, if you give me a moment, if you don't mind. And I'm like, no, we don't mind at all. Actually, go ahead. But good guy, by the way, and of course you got that interview that you wanted to. You said you wanted to redeem yourself.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I saw Brian Mendoza, guys. So like 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago at the fight with William El Camarón Zepeda at Cosmopolitan, I just went as a fan. And shout out to my people that I go with. I was drunk when I ran into him and Mario Barrios, and I'm like, oh shit! It's like literally you could hear me on my channel say, oh shit! Like look who's just chilling here, Mario Barrios and Brian Mendoza. So I didn't get to ask any legitimate questions, any questions that would have come up on my mind. Of course, I was thinking about. I knew he was sparring with Tim Tszyu. That was 3 weeks ago. I didn't even know he was going to be in this fight. That all happened after I ran into him. And by the way, guys, if you don't know, Mario Barrios posted he's having a baby. So congratulations to Mario.
Oh, a lot of people are just sad on Twitter. You know what I mean? Like,
so shout out to Mario, the interim champion. And when I ran into Brian, he was remember we saw him in the hallway. He had that WBC belt. I'm like, whoa, where does his interim title come from? Which obviously now is the legitimate Fundora now has the legitimate WBC title and the WBO title, right? Yeah. So hey, shout out to Brian, man. He gave his all. He came in as a last minute replacement. He was supposed to be on standby. The announcer said he was on standby contractually. I didn't know that. He didn't tell anybody. He was working out with Tim. He was in shape, but I don't know how you prepare for a guy like Bohacek at the last minute. That guy.
Yeah, I actually saw it in an interview with Tim Tszyu, or Tim. Maybe Tim wasn't supposed to say that, but he said, yeah, he's training here because he's a replacement in case somebody gets hurt. So I don't know if Tim was supposed to say that, but
no, I don't think they are. Exactly that. That's part of the business. They don't want us the general public to know, but he was, and he obviously gave it his all. The 11 and 12th round were strong, but Bohacek, the only time I had seen Bohacek fight was on Ring City, USA against Brandon Adams, the guy that comes out with the turtle shell. He got knocked out. He got knocked out in that fight. So I didn't think I'd see this kind of performance out of him. I think he was on a 5 KO win streak. He beat the crap out of Brian, man.
I mean, he did, but Brian was fighting through a terrible. It looked like an orbital bone fracture.
It did. Yeah. Right here, I know.
It was really bad, and fighting with that has
fighting through the pain. Exactly. So he's a soldier. He's a warrior, true warrior. Right away, I started thinking of Paulie Malignaggi when Cotto busted up his orbital bone, and Paulie's face just exploded and swelling.
Now I missed that fight, by the way. So. And I think I mentioned it to you. I'm like, hey, man, I never know what time it is. So I have to look at my phone to know the time in the casino. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they keep it dark on purpose.
Yeah, and I'm like, because I'm there and I'm thinking. I went to a blackjack table for a little bit. Then I went to the lobby bar for a little bit. The lobby bar was a little earlier. And I'm just like chilling at the MGM Grand, and I get and I'm hungry, right? Let me get something to eat before the fight starts. I'm telling myself, right?
Yeah.
And then Christine's texting me, where are you? And I'm like, why? We're already in the middle of the Mendoza fight. I'm like, what? And I look at the clock. I'm like, holy shit, time just fucking flew by, bro.
Yeah, I think that was 3 o'clock. Mendoza fight was 3,
I'm like, I didn't think. I thought it was like noon.
Yeah, so you missed the Kermel fight before that, right?
I missed it complete. I had a bet on Kermel. I didn't even know I lost it, bro.
Yeah, that actually was some good work for Kermel, guys. I think the first time he's gone the distance, he's 17. That's the crazy shit.
That's crazy. It is crazy. You know what I mean? Shout out to Remy, by the way, and Adam, Kelly, all you guys. Shout out to you guys, man. We appreciate you guys being here.
Hit that like button, guys. Come on.
Listening to our little conversation here. So I make it to T-Mobile. By the way, before we even talk about that, so we went to the Marisco spot, right?
Oh, after the we went to go. What was the name of that place?
After the weigh-in, the weigh-in, we went to that spot. You know what? It wasn't bad.
It wouldn't blow me out of the. I've had better ceviche, guys. If you guys like ceviche, I was
going to say
great ceviche. Yeah. It was good. I mean, for happy hour, anywhere you can get a deal on happy hour stuff in Vegas is a good find.
Those prices were cheaper Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, it was We had a big platter. I wish I could show you guys a humongous platter of ceviche. It was like $10.
I bought one slice of pizza in the Indian Grand. That shit was like expensive, bro.
11, maybe $11.
It was
$11.99
for a slice of pizza. Like,
no, now it did come with some caveats. It did come with some caveats. I think you told me you're like, don't turn around. I'm like, what? Don't turn around.
Oh, and, no, thankfully the look. I don't know, man. Certain parts of Vegas, there's some crackheads rolling around. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is.
Yeah, they're getting their fair share of it, man.
I was worried about Dave's vehicle. I'm like, I don't know, man. Your vehicle's a little too nice to be parking these parts. But whatever, right? We're just okay.
Guys, somebody's using the bathroom in the parking lot right behind the restaurant.
I just saw them pull down their pants. They're behind the dumpster, but they're facing where the street is. I mean, it makes no sense to me, right? And I'm like, don't turn around, right? We didn't turn around. It is what it is. But we have to say, I will say this before we get to the fights. It wasn't terrible or nothing like that. It was good. And for the price in Vegas, it was a deal. I will say that. Plus, Dave paid anyway.
Yeah.
Why I care. But but it was. I still got to analyze it, right? Like, I like those tacos better than that.
Yeah, the fish tacos are good, guys. Bahamar, it's right across the street from the Strat. It's supposed to be the best ceviche, but it's good. It's good. If you get on it down there, happy hour, go for it.
I wasn't a big fan of the sauce, or whatever that sauce was.
Most people don't. You guys like in the chat them fish tacos that come with that like mayonnaise-based sauce? I know what you're saying. I know. I guess that's really San Diego stuff. If there's anybody in the audience.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. And then the thing is, I never judge Mexican food that harshly when I go out of town. And the reason, because I live in El Paso.
Oh, yeah.
So Mexican food here is authentic Mexican. So I don't I never have like the biggest expectations. But it was good though. It was good. I will say that. And it was worth trying. It was a different style as well, and it was worth trying it. No, I'm not complaining. I thought it was good. What would you rate it? 1 to 10? How did you rate the tacos and the ceviche?
The fish tacos I give a solid 7, 8. The ceviche maybe a 6. It just wasn't acidic. I mean, I like ceviche with a lot of lime and stuff. You know,
I do too.
It was good. It was all right, guys. It was good. I definitely, if you're there for happy hour, go check that shit out. I hate to bring this up, but before we get to the fight, what's on my mind is that you talked to Tszyu before you interviewed him, and I interviewed Fundora. And I really thought we both got to see where their minds were on Thursday of the week. We got to see completely where their mindset was at and where their personalities differed. Maybe their approach coming into the fight, because I found Fundora, guys, I found him to be one of the most amiable, sweetheart type guys. Like, he just had this confidence, like, okay, he's gonna win, but he didn't come across braggadocious or like false confidence, like a Rolando Romero. Like, he's full of shit to himself,
Well, that's the guy we didn't see. He must have gone through the back or something. We never saw Raleigh.
And ironically, everybody said that Raleigh was hanging out at the casino on Friday night at the MGM till midnight, like still chilling at all the bars on the night before the fight. And of course, we didn't see Fundora doing that, but aside from Fundora being a sweetheart of a guy, him and his sister, what surprised me is how different their personalities are going into that fight. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
Tszyu, when they say his dad, Costa Tszyu, which, I mean, God, I was a big fan of Costa Tszyu, that he went to military school. I'm like, I can see that. I can see Tszyu is no nonsense. I think he was already in fight mode on Thursday. You know what I mean? Like, everything was already in his brain, ready for that fight on Saturday. Right. And we saw that going into rounds 1 and 2.
Look, they say the eyes are the windows to the soul, right? And I looked at his eyes, bro, and that it's like he was staring a hole through me. You know what I mean? Like and he's not. It's not even. I don't even think he's trying to or nothing like that. It's his mindset and where he was at, and Nice guy. He still did the pose at the beginning of the interview and all that, but he's very straightforward, no nonsense, to the point. If you want to say more military style, like that's just his personality, I guess. But
he's got an intense focus. The intensity was already there on Thursday night, guys. And DStyle captured it, I think, well on camera. And I witnessed it behind the camera. He was ready to rock on Thursday night. Where I think my interview with Fundora, I felt like he's telling me he's gonna win. He's gonna use his gifts.
Fundora was talking like he's gonna have a match, he was talking like he was gonna have he was gonna play checkers the next day with Tszyu. You know what I mean?
And not go into the most bloodiest fight that we've seen. What transpired was completely different from his
he was talking like he's gonna have a debate on stage with Tszyu or something. You know what I mean? That's how he's talking. Yeah. I'm like, but it works for him. He's fighting at the highest level. So hey, and he won on Saturday, so you can't. It's how he is,
Ultimately, I felt like overall he just was happy to be in those shoes when we saw him
to be there. And I know
headlining that card,
bro. A man who feels he's got nothing to lose and he's just happy to be there is a dangerous man. It just is what it is. And look, I get there on Saturday. I have really good seats, by the way. It's funny how a camera doesn't do justice to distance. You know what I mean? Because when I had it on camera, this shit looks a lot farther than what I am. I was like, where I don't know what do you call it? Like where it's usually where it rises up. What do you call that?
Right above. You're probably right above the floor seats. The first section above floor seats. Right?
Yeah, but there's a term for it. If somebody knows it in the chat, you can post it. But I was in the fourth row there. You know what I mean?
Those are good seats. Yeah, and there's downsides.
D. I was on letter D, so A, B, C, D. So
there are downsides to sitting on the floor if you guys are so lucky to sit on the floor. The floor can be probably the most uncomfortable chairs, and as people stand up and your vision is cut off.
I saw Andy Lee versus Chavez Jr. years ago at some bowl. I was in the sixth row. Sucked. It just does, bro. And you sit I don't know. My date was 5'1". You couldn't see anything when people would stand up.
There you go.
It's crazy. And then she would stand up and what a lot of girls especially would do, they would stand up on the chairs, and they were definitely blocking people's views because they were getting on the chairs so they could see over the guys, right? But then now they're blocking the people behind them. It's just an unbelievable thing. Shout out to Karma Serene, who got Boxing Kangaroo in the building, man. So I'm there. I'm on D, so I'm not that far. Liam Wilson's family's, and I guess one of his coaches sitting right next to me. I sat next to Liam for a little bit. I actually, talked to him very briefly. I didn't want to bother him. He was with his family, and I'm sure he's kind of over it right now. You know what I mean? And but I just talked to him, and he remembered me from the podcast, and I thanked them and all that. A couple of people actually walked up to Liam and were like, "Hey, you fought last night, right? Hey, can I take a picture?" And he was taking a picture with some fans. So I kind of, made me feel good for the guy. You know what I mean? He was getting his respect or whatnot. So the fights, that is. I was walking down the aisle in the first round of the Martinez fight. So the fight had already started. Okay. I thought that was a great fight, bro. It was a solid fight, but I think Martinez clearly won it. But Martinez was getting very, very impatient in that fight, I felt. He's got to work on that. He's got to learn how to be more cerebral throughout the entirety of the fight, I think. But you get a chance to watch that fight?
That's the one fight I missed. Yeah, okay. It's news to me. All the fights, that's the one I missed. So now he's got 2 losses on his record. He failed moving up to 115, and he just lost his title at 112.
Did he lose the title?
You said Martinez lost that fight?
Or no, he didn't lose. No.
Oh, okay, good.
I said he lost focus.
Okay.
He won a split.
What's the likelihood of him ever fighting Bam?
Was it a split?
Is him and Bam?
It was a majority. It was a majority decision, actually.
Okay.
But him fighting Bam, I don't know, man. I think Bam's going to stay at 115.
Yeah.
I think Martinez stays at 112. I would love to see Martinez versus Edwards because Edwards has a style that if Martinez can't catch him in the first few rounds, does Martinez lose focus and get frustrated, right? But on the flip side, can Sonny Edwards take those punches and that pressure from Martinez? I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. He took such a savage beating in that Bam Edwards fight recently. That we don't know if he's going to have less punch resistance once you start getting into wars. Which is why Friday night was so interesting to me. What happened in Arizona, the fight with Oscar Valdez, because I was like, man, how many wars has Oscar Valdez been in? I know Liam Wilson, what he brought to the table against Navarrete, can he handle another war like that?
Yeah.
And wow, man, you could when he started crying, you saw how overcome with the emotion. That fight meant a lot to him. It's like he's not going anywhere. He's going to go for another title run. So
before we get to the other two fights. The one regret I have is just about Vegas. Like for me, I'll get to that later. I'll get to it after the Tszyu thing because I'm gonna tie it into it. So to the look, I enjoyed every moment of that beatdown, that Cruz. Put on, oh boy, man, like that was a beatdown, bro. And I swear to God, I can't even believe those people out there that thought this was a close fight to call. I never thought this was close at all.
Well, we had one judge giving it to Raleigh, didn't they?
Atrocious. Like I don't know what the fuck they were watching. I saw a systematic beatdown, and you saw it. His body was breaking down, and once the ref didn't let him hold him more, I knew it was a matter of time. And now, I don't want to shit on Raw. I know a lot of people are shitting on him and making fun of him. And what I will say, though, is I don't need to like a fighter to respect a fighter. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is at the end of the day, he still got in the ring. He still laced up those gloves. He still stepped between those ropes. And he still fought. Like, you know what I mean? You got to respect that. Like I respect all fighters to that degree. And he tried to fight back. I just think he was just outmatched. That's it, you know. But yeah, you know, I don't know what you think.
You know, Raleigh came into this fight with his own bit of drama because he it was very public how him and his former trainer broke up, and so he was coming into this fight under the new tutelage of Ismael Salas, who's been very busy. Ismael Salas is a very busy Cuban coach that's based here in Las Vegas. He trains Brian Mendoza as well as a handful of other champions. You guys know that.
Right.
And I'm like, what is going to change with Raleigh Romero? I saw some leaked stuff that he put out, man. But honest, you know, he was just going to fight the way Raleigh fights. Once it got serious, he's just going to revert back to his I don't know. I guess we've had conversations with people in the lobby. People are like, he's got the weakest skill set of any world champion in the sport of boxing, and it showed. It shows. Hate to say it, you know, but a very athletic guy and gifted with power and whatnot. But probably for 135 because we saw him get gift decisions at 135. So moving up to 140, the Ismael Barroso's gift that he received, the WBA belt just handed to him. You know, he was obviously the weakest champion at 140. And I'm curious.
Did you get that sense, though? Like, in the arena, it was obvious that was a pro Pitbull Cruz crowd. Like,
yeah.
And when he won, he had the biggest ovation than any fighter during the entrances, when he was walking through the arena, when the half of the crowd was going, roar, 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 like a dog, like barking. And I thought that was kind of cool, to be honest. Like, he had a bigger ovation than Fundora and Tszyu. He had a bigger ovation than any other fighter.
You know, it reminds me of El Perro Angulo. He wasn't a big talker. El Perro Angulo wasn't a big talker, but he talked himself into a Canelo Alvarez fight, one that I went to like over 10 years ago. Damn. And El Perro Angulo he had a huge fan base. Like at that Canelo fight, El Perro Angulo shows up and half the crowd was literally there for him. And he wasn't a big talker as Pitbull Cruz is. He's not a big talker. Maybe he does more interviews in Spanish, But to the U.S. market, I barely hear anything coming out of him. You know, it was all Raleigh at the press conferences. Pitbull Cruz is just one of those guys that's going to show you in the ring.
I think Pitbull was thinking what I was thinking. I think he was like, hey, he's going to sell the fight. I'll just take care of business in the ring. He's doing my job for me. Like he's like, I've heard fighters say that, bro. They love it when a fighter talks trash because they sell the fight. Like, it is what it is. Like, I still remember, like, when I interviewed Glenn Jennings before the Harrison fight with Tszyu, and I was like, how does Tim feel about having, like, this American trash talking on this and that? And they're like, it's like, mate, we love it. It's selling the fight. Like, that's more money for us. Like, we love them for it. They loved Keith Thurman, like, when he was talking shit. Like, it is what it is. Like, I don't think fighters should take it personal when a fighter talks trash, man. I just don't. Like, if it's helping sell the event, it's helping sell the event. That's more money for you. You know what I mean? It gives more attention to your fight. And I think this fight sold a gate, bro.
Yeah.
The noise showed it. And I think, I would say, I'm just guessing, but I saw some people leave after the Pitbull fight.
Really?
I would say about
That's
1/10,
crazy.
at least 1/10 of the crowd left before the main event.
Yeah, I'm curious if most of the I didn't see them. I didn't see a lot of Mexican fans at the hotel that looked like they had come from Mexico. So I'm wondering if they were locals, you know, California, Arizona, Las Vegas people.
Yeah,
because hey, he's I brought it up on my show on Monday. I was surprised by how quickly William El Camarón Cepeda is building a local fan base here in Las Vegas as well. His fight was sold out. In fact, I've never seen Cosmopolitan sold out for those smaller fights. He sold it out. He did. And now
how many does that hold?
4,000 people is very intimate.
I would say it wouldn't be that unfair for me to say that about a quarter of that crowd was there for Pitbull Cruz.
Wow.
Like it just wouldn't. There was some Australians cheering for Tszyu, and for a guy that's not from here, he had a good amount of fans here. It's still impressive. So I think it was comparable, but I think that fight brought the gate. I will say that. So you know, Raleigh did a good job being a heel.
Oh yeah. Did you see? Is El Camarón Cepeda the mandatory now for Tank Davis?
Is he?
I think that's what I read. What's crazy to me is obviously now PBC has a vested interest in potentially bringing up Tank Davis the 140, fight that rematch. Now there's a lot. Now there's a lot at stake. But
yeah, they probably will do that, bro. I'm not thinking about it, but that's what Calix said yesterday. I know somebody asked where's Calix. I'm not sure actually. I think Calix watching basketball or something.
Hey guys, by the way, I apologize. I don't know if my camera has got oil on it or something or what, but it just won't focus. And unless I disconnect it, it is what it is, guys. It's out of focus. I apologize about that.
It's all good. It's all good.
DStyle, the fight I want to see, and nobody's talking about it. I know it's a pipe dream, but I want to see those two Mexicans get it on. Is William El Camarón Cepeda versus Pitbull Cruz?
I'm about to say something that's going to piss a lot of people off, and I don't care. I think Pitbull beats Cepeda.
That volume, it's crazy because the volume they both have incredible volume. But
I just
Cruz
think,
man, that neck on Pitbull Cruz.
Here's what I'm gonna say, bro. I saw JoJo land some shots on Cepeda and stun Cepeda. If Pitbull hits him with those shots, it's good night.
And Cepeda been dropped too. The thing is, Cepeda has been dropped. You can go back and watch that on DAZN probably.
Is his only answer? Oh, I'm just gonna throw more. That can't be your answer. Even Tank Davis started to box on the move. When he tried to press him, he tried to match him with power, and even Tank Davis said, "You know what? I'm just gonna box." So Cepeda's not gonna do that though. I know Sports Archive thinks Pitbull's trash. Okay, I think Pitbull beats him.
Yeah, Pitbull Cruz is absolutely not trash. He does a lot of things that are brilliant, that are sound. That people are describing him to a mini Mike Tyson, and he does use his head movement and that neck is just ridiculously strong. I mean, the guy's built. We talked about height earlier. He looks like a guy who should be a super featherweight, 130-pound fighter. But yeah, he can fight. He can fight at 140. He's so stocky.
He's stocky. That's what I was going to say. He's like a pit bull.
Yeah, he really is, man. That
You know
neck
what I
is
mean?
crazy. His neck muscles are crazy.
Hello, so amazing. Says smash the likes. What up, DStyle? How's it going, brother? How's it going? The main event, bro. Tszyu, and there's so many ways we go about this. The fight. I just want to say, I said this all week, and I was there, really close to the action. I can't say this enough. Like, I was very impressed with the heart that both fighters showed in that fight.
Tremendous.
And I was very impressed. Like, I tweeted out, and I did, and I swear I don't mean this in a condescending way at all, but I tweeted out, these guys are savages in the middle of that fight. Blood everywhere. You at some point you don't even know which. You're assuming most of it's Tim's, but you don't know where like they were painting each other with blood when they would land punches. Like literally. Like it's crazy, bro. They could have like gotten a canvas and wiped it with the gloves and created something that might have gone for a lot of money, probably. Right? Nobody thought about it, but like that canvas was crimson at the end, bro. Like I was just thinking, before I get to the, I know people have a lot of criticisms about the corner of Tszyu, and I just feel like most fans are putting the focus in the wrong place, right? I'm here to be a spectator. That's what I am. And I witnessed a war. I witnessed a great fight. And I witnessed there's a lot of things we appreciate about boxing, the skill, the hard work, the sacrifice. But this fight showed us why these guys are more than just athletes. You see, baseball players are athletes. Football players even are athletes, even though that's a rough sport as well. Soccer players are athletes. Tennis players are athletes. But to be a fighter of any combat sport, in this case boxing, which I believe is the most dangerous of them all, like you got to be more than just an athlete. You know what I mean? Like these guys are warriors. They're modern day gladiators.
It's truly it's the only sport where somebody will have the attitude that you're going to have to kill me to get me out of the ring. You're going to have to kill me. That doesn't happen in baseball or even football. You know what I mean? Like there's no guy on the football field
we don't get it.
Like, I'm going to have to come to near death.
A lot of people don't get it, but it's like, I know, because they're wired differently. They're not normal.
Right.
Like,
yeah, and by the way,
I honestly believe, I don't think for 1 second Tszyu was like, should I continue or not? Should I pull out of this fight?
No, you didn't see that coming from his.
I think his mindset was, okay, how many? So when I wipe my face, I'll have about 1.2 seconds to land some. Like
to land a big shot.
I think he's thinking. I think he was strategizing how he's going to get this done. I don't even think, how do I get out of this fight, even crossed his mind, bro.
Right. While being crippled by the vision, but the blood blurring his vision, he still, I think, always till the very end of the fight was thinking, I can land a big shot that is going to change the trajectory of this fight. He said it in the interview. He said it when you were talking to him. He said, I am a throwback fighter, like his father. This is the return of the throwback era. This fight ended up materializing to be one of those throwback classics like Gotti Ward.
Like, I'm not saying he looked comfortable because he's in a fight and he's getting hit and he's throwing back. And so I'm not saying he looked comfortable, but that's as comfortable as somebody could possibly look under circumstances.
You can't be comfortable with the vision blurred like that.
He's like, I'm comfortable. I feel like this is where I belong. Right. And I can't help but praise a man that's trying to win under those circumstances, even if I think it's crazy, right? Like in my mind, this is crazy, but like he's doing it. You know what I mean? And I can't like leave out the fact that Fundora broke his nose in the first round.
Right. He had his own issue he was dealing with, obviously.
Yeah, so both guys really showed like their mettle in this fight.
For real.
You know, like
they both ended up being handicapped for the rest of the fight.
Fundora found that he's like, okay, I'm going to use my jab here, right? That's what I'm going to do because my nose is broken. I can't afford a lot of those shots anymore. And Tszyu found his own. Like, I mean, that guy was like wipe, throw. Like it was the craziest thing I've seen. And of course, I thought they should probably stop this, right? Of course,
yeah. That brief window went and so quickly because honestly, right after that before the fourth round was the only time to legitimately stop the fight, and you didn't see that conversation happening from anybody in the corner. There's the criticisms there. They could have.
I haven't seen it.
You could have stopped the fight, but there was too much pressure. This was PBC's debut on Prime. This was the coming out party for Tszyu. In my opinion, PBC was banking heavily on Tszyu cementing himself as an international crossover star. His dad was.
Yeah, like I think
he's not going to just walk away from that opportunity, right? I mean, that's what was going on in his mind. He wasn't going to look at his corner and be like, guys, I can't deal with this. Let's stop the fight. And neither was his corner. I mean, they said they told you in that interview, they said, no, this is a throwback era. No pussy shit. No pussy. You're not going to see any pussy shit that you see in the sport of boxing anymore.
And let me tell you something. If Tszyu would have told the ref, yo, bro, I can't see, I would have understood. I wouldn't even criticize. I would have been like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's when people are criticizing the doctor, I think that's fair. Like, I think what did the doctor need to see? Like, what would have made him stop it? Like, I just don't get it. Like, another cut? Not to mention, Dave, like the likeliness of him hitting him with the elbow again was very high. It just didn't happen again.
Yeah, or Fundora punching on top of the skull.
But I think Fundora going back using a jab kept his elbows away from Tim accidentally because it was an accident, right? I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, Fundora did some MMA shit and hit him or like not some John Jones elbow. That's not what I'm saying, right? It was accidental. By the way, I think it was like this part. I don't think it was the pointy part of the elbow.
It didn't look like it.
It was like this part. I think he's so tall and so bony.
He really is, man. He bumped
it looked like a slit.
Still cut him. Yeah.
It was like a slit. It would have actually been better if he hit him with a point because it would have just been this direct hit. So maybe I can't say that. I mean, maybe it would have been worse, but who knows? But it's whatever. But I think it's fair to like everything's fair. Criticisms are fair. You know what I mean? So if anybody feels, and by the way, Tony says he's down to watch the rematch, so am I. Toltec wants to attempt to lead PBC. MZ says, this was to you, he says he was not handicapped. Stop it, bro. Fundora.
Well, he had a broken nose.
Yeah.
100% affects your breathing. You start mouth breathing. That was going right into his mouth as well. I brought this up on my show, DStyle, on Monday, but there was a fight that was very close to me because at the time I had been rooting for Robert the Ghost Guerrero. I had just been I was living in San Jose. Robert the Ghost Guerrero was having his homecoming fight.
I remember that fight.
Where the San Jose Sharks there it was the first time we are going to see South Bay champion make his hometown appearance, and he was fighting an undefeated nightmare of a Thai fighter. I forget the Thai guy's name, but the Thai guy was coming into the fight with an undefeated record. And Robert the Ghost Guerrero suffered. He was losing. It was like round 2, 3. He was getting his ass handed to him. And nobody in the audience expected this because they weren't really following this Thai fighter. Things were getting a little dicey. Robert the Ghost Guerrero sustains a serious cut above the eye or on the eye. That could have potentially, they could have. This was his homecoming fight. Everybody there from San Jose was there to see him. First time in a very long time this was going to happen. But I think his dad looked at the cut. He saw that things were going in his favor that night. Probably wasn't Robert's best night. Maybe something was off with him. And now blood was getting in his eye. And they elected to stop the fight. Hey, let's do a no contest. Let's get the doctor over here. That saved Robert the Ghost Guerrero's title. I believe it was the featherweight title. It saved him his title. And he never rematched the Thai guy. He said, we'll move on from this. He still went on to be a featherweight champion. And eventually, we all know what happened. He ended up at 147 fighting Floyd Mayweather. They could have done that on Saturday night. Would it have been fan-friendly? No. Vegas is a completely different beast than San Jose, California, man.
I think what happens, and this happens in life sometimes, like, it's just like a snowball effect, and then you're like, oh, it's too late now. Like you know what I mean? Like, I think I'm not speaking for the corner or for Tim. I'm just giving my opinion here. I think he's like, I could fight him with a cut. I just dominated the first 2 rounds. It looks like I busted up his nose. I think if I could find enough openings, I think I could knock him out. And I think it went past the 4th rounds, and then maybe they were thinking, well, if we go to the scorecards, what if they give him 3 of the rounds, give us 2 of the rounds, and then we lose?
Now he's got to fight the whole fight and look for that knockout.
So now I think they were looking for clear-cut rounds to then stop it. Mm-hmm. And those clear-cut rounds never came. And then before they know it, they're in the middle of a fight that they're probably behind on the cards. And they just are where they are. Now, that it's, if somebody wants to argue, they still should have stopped it. I get it. Hindsight's 2020, and I get people are going to say, oh, I knew the moment it happened. I would have, okay, I know. Everyone knows everything when they're not in there. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. I don't know what the corner's thinking. Maybe the corner's kicking themselves in the butt. I don't know, man. You know what I mean? I have no idea. I can't speak for them. Like, I'm sure they'll put a message out eventually, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it's like, is it bad of me? Does it make me a bad person if I just said, I mean, I thought it was a hell of a fight. I enjoyed the fight.
Well, I was going to admit, I think 100%, even though it's early in the year, it's a fight of the year contender. Absolutely going to be a fight of the year contender.
I think the drama of it, like
yeah,
Tim can't see, and then, oh, is he going to hit him in the cut? And then, like, I think the drama of it, like, if there was no blood, it probably is just like an average fight, to be honest with you, without the blood. But we can't ignore the blood. Like, like, we can't ignore, like, the shit spilling out and, like, a water fountain on Tim. Like the waters of the Bellagio were on his fucking forehead, bro. Like, it was just like, I couldn't believe what was happening. Like, I just couldn't believe it, that it was happening. And I was sitting next to, I know he's part of Liam Wilson's team. And we talked briefly before the fight, and we're looking up at the screen, right? Because we're kind of like this. And we're like, that's an ugly cut. He's like, yeah. He's like, I don't even know how Tim is still in there. Like he can't see. Like, and he said he fought on instinct, and I kind of believe him. I think because what people got to realize, bro, is blood is thicker than water. It stings, it burns, it's sticky. Like, it doesn't just flow down. Like, it's not the same as having water in your eyes, bro.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I still remember, not to expose myself a little bit, but it's okay, right? When I was in my early 20s, this girl broke up with me, and I started crying like a little bitch in my car, okay? And I had to pull over because I couldn't see. Like, and that's tears, okay? And I'll never cry for another bitch ever again. Like, it is what it is, all right? But I'm just saying, have you ever, like, cried while driving?
No, I've cried over relationships though.
Well, you know how you can't fucking see? Like, imagine fucking blood in your eyes.
Man,
I know what someone's going to say. They're going to say, but DStyle, that's why we're saying they should have stopped the fight. I'm not disagreeing. Logically speaking, like, if somebody asked me, if you were the doctor, would have stopped it? Yes, I would have stopped it, 100%. I wouldn't want it in my conscience. Like, what if Fundora landed like a bomb on that cut, bro?
Right.
And it got even worse. Like, then what?
Yeah. I think that the state athletic doctor, the Nevada appointed doctor, could have stopped it anywhere after a certain amount of rounds.
If somebody,
they just were probably sucked up into the whole atmosphere. You know, they knew they were witnessing a great fight.
I know. Like, if somebody asked me, if you're the ref, would you have stopped it? Probably. I don't know if the ref has the discretion to stop it in that case, but I would have been very insistent to the doctor, right? If I'm the cornerman, do I stop it? or if I'm the cut man, probably I do. Okay, I probably do. Right? So I cannot answer for people why the corner didn't stop it. I cannot answer for people why Tim wanted to continue. Right? But what I can say is that even if you don't like it, you got to respect it. Like point blank period, bro. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is me personally, and maybe people will say I'm biased because I met the team and all that, but I just don't like the insults being thrown at the team, and they got to fire the whole team, and this, that, and the third, and this team's been with them since he was a kid, bro. Like they got where they were together, bro. Like kind of like a band of brothers where they are. Like you think like who are some armchair people to be telling a fighter to get rid of his team, bro? You know what I mean? Like I think that's like a line that you're crossing, in my opinion, when people go that far. It's one thing to give your opinion and say that maybe they should assess that better, done it better, and even if you want to say maybe Tim should think about getting another cut man or like all that's fair, right? But once you start going to the territory of insults and once you start going to a territory of like, I just think some people are going overboard. It's my opinion, you know what I mean? But it is what it is.
I could definitely see him switching to if it's in Vegas, I could see him switching to Stitch Duran. I mean,
he does make enough money.
It's not a huge insult. It's not like the cut man is. Yeah, he's probably family and close to them, but it's not like the most essential person to his team.
Yeah, like I could see the argument of the cut man. Although Stitch himself said he couldn't have stopped that bleeding.
He did say that, huh?
So yeah, like his thing was stop the fight. It wasn't I would have stopped it. But to your credit, like if Stitch Duran is there and he looks at like he can't call it himself, he's the cut man. But if he tells the chief second, hey, you cannot stop this bleeding. It's in a bad spot. The bleeding is going to get worse. X, Y, and Z could happen and make it a lot worse. I need to stop this fight, brother. Like if somebody was there saying that, then maybe they do stop it. You get what I mean?
Mm-hmm. What were your thoughts on that post-fight press conference right before? Shout out to our homegirl Gail Falkenthal of New York Fights. Right before she asked her questions, the prior, I think, interviewer had asked and put Tim in a spot about the cut, and he said no comment. Yeah, I believe they asked him, "Do you believe your corner?"
I read that in several ways. I think the way I read that was because he also said, I need to actually look at it. Because it's not like someone gave him a mirror. And I do wish, like this is what, I don't know why they've never done this, but the doctors should have a mirror with them. So they can wipe it off and show the fighter, this is your cut. Okay? I don't know why they don't do that. I don't get it. Like a barber. Yeah, like a barber, bro. Like this is your cut, brother. Like, you know what I mean? This is bad. And the way Tint scares, if he keeps jabbing you there or he lands a bomb right there, he could cut you worse. If he lands the elbow again, it could get even worse. And we're talking about a really bad cut. Like, or the elbow could go directly, no skin, just directly to your skull, bro. I don't know if that's a good idea. Right? So, like, I think there's a lot to assess here. Right? And Tim makes enough money to have, like I said, Duran. I will say that. So like, it's not like he can't afford them, right? Mm-hmm. As far as his team, I think his team's done a phenomenal job getting them ready, preparing them. I don't think he needs to switch teams. I think, and it's completely up to him what he wants to do, but I just think they need to just maybe have a conversation about if something like this happens again, I want you to do X, Y, and Z, right? But like, I don't know. Like, again, we don't know if Tim's had this conversation with his team before. That's another thing we don't know. We don't know if he's told him before, hey, no matter what, you will not stop this. No matter what it is. Remember, like, Wilder was like, I had a pact and you couldn't stop it and he got mad at Breland or whatever. Mm-hmm. Now, Wilder, he took it too far and he accused Breland of drugging him and all that dumb shit. But But as far as being mad at Breland because Breland stopped the fight, I think Breland did the honorable thing. I'm a firm believer that it's if you care for somebody like a friend, you should be willing to lose a friendship so you don't lose a friend. Like if you get what I mean. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully they come around and they understand. Like that's just the way it is. So that's just look, we're just gonna have to accept, man. I don't know if this is like the Russian mentality. I don't know if this is like a military style of thinking where no matter what, we don't look back, there's no retreat, and we keep marching forward, and no matter what, we don't quit. There could be a little bit of that. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, if you can't see, like, you know, maybe you should just say, you know what? It's okay to say I can't see. Let's do it again another time, you know? But I just don't know if Tim's wired that way.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. Not from what I witnessed at the MGM in the brief moments that I got to meet the team and Tim with you. I don't think they're wired for that. I mean, they held up to what they said they were going to come do. They're going to come back and give
it's
a
just
throwback.
They have this honor about them that I think a lot of people are detached from in this era. You know what I mean? And Tszyu was the same way. Like Tszyu got hit with a nasty low blow by Ricky Hatton. And if Tszyu would have stayed down and said he couldn't continue, they would have disqualified Ricky Hatton. But he continued to fight through that. Like Tszyu in an area ended up in the hospital and was swollen down there, bro. That's what he fought. Like that's the mentality. And I think people just like, again, you don't have to like it. You know what I mean? But you just have to accept it. That's who they are. Gary Russell goes to the ring with a fucked up shoulder. He knows it was fucked up. And he fought that way. People got mad at him. I'm not saying I liked it, but I get it. Like he wanted to fight. It's his decision. You know what I mean? Sometimes fighters don't make rational decisions. You know, like it just is what it is. But he gave us a great fight for it. Now, before we go, I don't want to put you on the spot or nothing, right? Tell everybody. I feel kind of conceited asking this question, but it's whatever. Tell everybody how it was meeting DStyleBoxing and all that good stuff.
Man, it was a pleasure, bro. It was absolute pleasure. For you guys that don't know, I've met DStyle here. It's been over 3 years. He's been instrumental helping my presence on YouTube. I just used to have a small presence on other platforms. And this is what I've been, my whole life moving here to Vegas has been about meeting other creators and whatnot. And DStyle is what you see is what you get. And I appreciate people like that. You know, it's no different persona when you watch somebody on YouTube. And I've personally met a lot of creators that aren't who they appear to be on screen. And so that means a lot to meet somebody that's, hey, what you see is what you get. They're the same person outside of the YouTube TV screen, 16:9, frame. So no, I appreciate that. It was a good time. But let's not end the show too quickly because I want to ask you about this 154-pound division, DStyle. It's even more, to me, it's even more interesting.
I'm just being courteous to you.
Yeah.
We'll go whenever, by the way, but I'm good. But
dog, this division now has the two current champions in Jermell Charlo and Fundora are not undefeated fighters. And also almost all of the contenders' stars have a blemish. And so it's one of these divisions where I think we're going to eventually see somebody with a blemish like Tszyu potentially become world champion again. So that makes for even better storylines. I've talked about Jesus Ramos Jr., who to many people blew it being the Canelo undercard this year as the co-main attraction, taking his foot off the gas, which gave Lubin the opportunity to negotiate the fight with Tim. And that, hey, Lubin priced himself out, is what they say. Lubin's got a blemish.
I have a theory about the Lubin situation.
They're all blemished. The only exception in the 154-pound division that aren't blemished are very young contenders. Sanders Ayas
Mm.
And Charles Conwell, who the former Olympian who recently signed with Golden Boy, that I think is going to be in action really soon. Other than that, all these top stars, I think I give them all a fair chance. Maybe not Brian Mendoza. I think he's going to come up short no matter what. But I still give people like Tim.
Yeah.
I give people like Tim a chance to become world champion again. I think Jesus Ramos Jr., if Jermell Charlo vacates the belt, can find himself in a title opportunity. Charles Conwell, he had a horrific, fight where his opponent passed away, and his career kind of sat on the sidelines because of that and promotional issues. That's not easy to move on from being associated with an opponent dying in the ring, but he's unblemished, and he could potentially be a world champion too.
Look, this whole division. Oh, my bad. I couldn't mute on time. It is what it is. This whole division is like a big round robin, bro. But as a fan, it's exciting. So Fundora just got to win over Tim, right? And I agree. Like if it wasn't for the cut, it would have been different. I get it. Fundora got knocked out by Mendoza.
Yeah.
And Tim just beat him, like dominated Mendoza,
Exactly.
And then Mendoza lost to Ramos. Ramos lost to Lubin. Lubin
lost to Jermell in round 1.
Well, and he also lost to Fundora in a war, right? He rearranged the face of Lubin. Right?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Tim's face he had like a little knot right here. Guys never leave a fight like that with Fundora. Like the fact that
he has a history. He rips people apart.
Yeah, the fact that Tim couldn't see in his face wasn't fucked up. That's something. But before we go, I got to bring up something Chicano said earlier. And I'm not even done. And then you have all the. So anyway, you have this. This division is a perfect example of you cannot do like combat math, right? Well, he beat him and he beat him, so therefore that means he's going to beat him. You can't do that. Like, and I get it. Like I, like many people, feel Ramos really won the Lubin fight, right? I do, but he didn't. Like it is what it is, right? I get it. The cut made a big difference. It is what it is, but boxing is very circumstantial. We all kind of understand that things that maybe shouldn't happen sometimes happen, and that's what makes fights intriguing, right? That's why we got to fight the fights. So this is a very interesting division. I have a theory on the Lubin thing. I actually believe Lubin when he says, I was asked about the fight by PBC. I said yes. I was waiting, and then before I know it, they announced a Thurman fight. I actually believe Lubin. I heard several interviews of his. And the reason I believe Lubin, because even at Tim Tszyu side isn't sure what happened. So Tim Tszyu was already training for Lubin because he had an understanding that it's going to be Lubin, right? And then they told him Lubin's a no-go, but what about Thurman? I think what happened was PBC made a business decision and thought, I don't know, we want to launch our first pay-per-view with Lubin as a headliner.
Yeah,
I think that's what happened.
They 100% needed somebody with some name brand recognition.
Yeah, I think that's what happened, bro. And they just told Tim Tszyu's team that it's not going to work. And okay, so we got Thurman. And maybe Al Heyman really felt Thurman was that name that was going to big up the event. So I actually do believe Lubin. Like I believe the Tim Tszyu side that was told Lubin's a no-go, right? I believe that that's what they were told by PBC. But even Glenn was like, I'm not sure what happened with Lubin. I'm just going off of what I was told. So I think PBC kind of screwed Lubin. They got him out of, I think it was for business reasons.
Right. It's exactly that. Barroso was screwed out of an opportunity. He was the mandatory for Raleigh, but business is business. Pitbull Cruz is the former opponent to Gervonta Tank Davis. Both of those guys fought Gervonta Tank Davis. That was a strictly business move, not to invite Barrosos on that card for his rightful opportunity. And it's going to be like that with Bohacek. Bohacek's not going to get that shot, even though he's in position to. And he's not next to line.
It's not like Lubin is saying, "Oh, Tim Tszyu ducked me." I haven't heard him say that. That's true. Tim Tszyu avoided me. He keeps saying, I never got an offer. I was asked if I wanted to by PBC, and I was waiting. And then, like, all of a sudden, he heard when we heard that he's gonna fight Thurman, right? So like, it is what it is. But awesome division, I love it. By the way, next time I go to Vegas, man, I gotta hit up Fremont Street, bro.
Well, we got a party, boy. Exactly. I regret that. Yeah, 100%. Next time you come to Vegas, we got to partake in a little bit more of what people come in. Yeah,
because I looked at my bank statement.
Drinking.
I partied at the Strip, but man, I don't know. I'll probably want to party at the Fremont Street.
Got to hit.
Oh, and the regret. I regret not knowing about Slots of Fun at next to Circus Circus.
Yeah. The old school with
beers?
The coins. $2 hot dogs.
$2 hot dogs, $2 beers.
Drink cocktail.
Like, are you, dude? That was like a walking distance for me too. Like, I was like, what? Do they still have that?
Yeah, they do. I think they just put some new stuff in there too, man. People love value. People love value in Vegas.
$2 Dos Equis, bro, at the fucking Strip.
Yeah,
it's a steal.
Yeah, that's a steal.
But where are the happy hours at these casinos, bro? Like, they don't got shit. They're not. It is what it is.
We'll hit them up next time for sure. Anybody who's coming to that Canelo fight, don't be afraid to hit me up. Come watch my show. My Instagram.
I don't know if I can. It's hard to get credentialed, first of all, for Canelo fights.
Yeah, it's the cream of the crop.
But if I because a lot of mainstream places go and they kind of take precedent over the people actually covering the sport, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking of going just to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The energy is Cinco de Mayo energy is incredible.
Yeah. It's incredible. Plus, it's Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo, man.
You know what I mean?
Big fight. Jaime Munguia, all Mexican. It's gonna be bananas on the Strip.
That's right. You know, I was telling Chicano about those. I don't know if you remember, but I'm trying to remember. Was it the weigh-in or was it the? Yeah, it was a press conference. Well, the press conference going on. No. It was. I think it was a weigh-in. Do you remember those girls? It was like 3 girls that came out from the swimming area. Do you remember?
No.
Like, they were like all blonde, and they had like just the tops and like the thongs on. You know what I mean? You don't remember?
No.
They were standing right in front of us.
That's standard. That's standard in Las Vegas. That's every day.
Damn. Like, I told Chicano, like, one of those girls, like one of those beautiful girls I ever seen.
No,
there was a lot of girls. There was a lot of girls in Vegas, but that one stood out. Like, stood out. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? But you got to go back to Vegas, bro.
And by the way, did you mention you saw Sky Nicholson? Because isn't she headlining this weekend? She's headlining at the brand new casino.
I saw her from a distance. Nobody recognized her. That's crazy.
That's wild. Yeah, that's wild. They'll be having the zone fight at the Fontainebleau. The newest casino is hosting the first fight this Saturday. Diego Pacheco, Mark Castro, I think Sky Nicholson. We'll see how that goes, man. I'll keep my ears.
Oh, by the way, one more thing before we go. So Chicano really wants us to talk about how it was a Mexican sweep this past weekend. So Valdez won. He won't want to mention, but I'm going to mention it. Ceniza won. Okay, before Chicano gets all chauvinistic over here. Zurdo won.
Oscar Valdez, right? We have 2 new world champions. Actually, we got what?
Howard Inferno, Martinez. I think that's like 7 wins, bro.
Yeah, that was a good night for Mexican American fans. Like you said, we have 2 new world champions that are Mexican, cruiserweight division, and we have Pitbull Cruz. And Ceniza doing something remarkable, becoming undisputed. It was a pretty big weekend for Mexican fans.
It's a pretty big weekend, although Chicano might just dismiss that one because it's a woman, but it's all right. You know, I'm going to give her a credit. You know what I mean? By the way, I thought that fight was close. I thought it was a really close fight, but, you know.
Which, Ceniza?
Yeah.
And Ernesto said it was going to be close. He knew it was going to be close. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a Mexican sweep. You know what I mean? Man, swept. That was like, if it was a 7-game series, it was a wrap. You know what I mean?
Anybody bet that on a parlay? That'd have been a crazy parlay. You don't see
that would have been the most
parlay
Mexican
by
thing
race.
to do.
Yeah, that would have been. If anybody put that, let us know in the chat.
That would have been the most Mexican thing to do a parlay of all the Mexicans, and you would have won. But what's the likeliness of that happening? Like every single Mexican won their fight?
That's crazy.
How likely is that? Like that's crazy,
Yeah.
Although a lot of them were favorites. Like Martinez was a favorite, substantial, like 3-1 favorite. Estrada was the favorite slight. Valdez was like a 3-4-1 favorite. Cruz a favorite? He was, right?
I think he was favorite. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the one that's impressive is the Tower and Inferno, bro. Fundora was a huge underdog. So.
And I thought Brian Mendoza was Mexican American. I just found out he's Cuban. I had no idea. I had it all. So yeah, Brian Mendoza is not Chicano. He's Cuban American. So
really?
Yeah, it was a Mexican. Yeah, because technically he was fighting for that WBC interim title. So
so it's still a sweep.
Yeah, still a sweep.
Still a sweep. Sorry, Mendoza. I thought he's from Albuquerque. I just assumed.
Yeah, he had the Cuban flag on his shorts. The first time I
did he have it because he was boxing with Salas, or did he have it because?
Well, you know what? Somebody call the gym or reach out to him on IG. Maybe
fact check on that. Maybe there wasn't a sweep, bro. Maybe it's still it's like it was a one hitter, but it wasn't a perfect game. It's okay. You know what I mean? Like, what do we do? But man, either way, it was so an impressive weekend for Mexican boxing. Mexican boxing really stood out. You know what I mean? And we'll see if it's the same on Cinco de Mayo. I might do a parlay for all the Mexicans on Cinco de Mayo.
It never seems to work out that way on the big holidays, man, but that would be pretty special.
But I guess the main event, they're both Mexican.
Yeah.
So do you think like that's going to be closer than people think, the fight with Munguia and Canelo?
Yeah, I do. As we get closer to it, I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. I mean, we've seen I've noticed the decline of Canelo Alvarez, and I've just noticed Jaime Munguia finally hitting his peak, hitting his stride. I think it's going to be a lot more competitive. But, Jaime hasn't fought the level of competition. He's never fought anybody like Canelo. So he's fighting him at the right time. Had he gotten that Gennady Golovkin fight early on in his career, it could have destroyed him and his trajectory. So everything in that sport for him has happened. It's been in perfect timing now. Although he could have been derailed early on in his career. Fighter like Liam Wilson, man. Like to be honest, Liam Wilson, I think he's a guy that could have had a better career had he not fought in the opposition, not being thrown into a Navarrete fight so early. Come on, bro. The Navarrete
will pop up again, bro. Like, I think fighters that come to fight and I think they should be rewarded with more opportunities.
They should, and they do typically in the history of boxing. But there's always fighters that get rushed into that position. They're just not ready for that level of opposition, and then they become opponents and eventually become journeymen when they could have been something even better.
I think the only reason didn't Valdez get hurt? That's why Wilson was brought in. I think, if I remember correctly.
I don't remember.
So I'm thinking that's what it is. You know what I mean? I could be wrong, but I think that's what it was, and. It's just hard to say no for that opportunity, and a lot of these fighters, man, that they're not making a lot of money, so they get offered a good change, and then to fight for a world title, they take it,
Yeah. So I don't know how long Tim Tszyu's going to be out, but I read that Fundora is going to have to be out by the Nevada State Athletic Commission for 6 months. So
I'm surprised they haven't made a decision about Tim, but.
I haven't heard anything, but if it's 3 months, bro, I say he fight in Australia.
Surgery right here, yeah, for a while, because that's the most hit part of the face. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, I definitely don't want to see Tim sit on the sidelines. I'm not for Tim sitting on the sidelines. If he's ready to, if that thing heals and he wants to fight in the middle of the summer in Australia,
I think. But think about it though, like that cut's gonna take at least 2 to 3 months to heal, just to heal. Right,
looking at midsummer.
Yeah, then
I just don't want to see him fight at the end of the year. I know,
and then you gotta wait till it's healed in order to plan anything.
Yeah,
right.
Him and Liam Wilson would be great on a domestic card in Australia. I think
perhaps I don't know if we're gonna see Tim back in Australia for a while. personally. He's already got the pay-per-view money over there, and he wants to fight over here. He's hell bent on that. But they've also said they're not ruling out Australia. You know what I mean? But Australia, they're showcasing his brother over there, Nikita. I think I showed you Nikita. I just pointed at him, but we didn't go up to him. Nikita is a very exciting fighter to watch. I don't know if he'll be as good as Tim, but he's very exciting to watch. And he's about, I think he's the one that's going to be fighting like the Xander Zayases and guys like that. Like when the time's right, maybe Ramos does get to fight a Tszyu, but it'll be Nikita, you know. But man, our guy Ramos, man, I think he should be still undefeated. He should be in the mix. And I'll be honest with you, I think it would have been him, not Fundora nor Thurman. It would have been Ramos Tszyu this last Saturday.
If he had not let it go to the scorecard the way he did, yeah. I think you're right about that.
Especially if he knocked out Lubin like I know he could have done.
With the attention being on the co-main of Canelo Alvarez, yeah, that was what they were setting it up for, you know. Unfortunately, that's the way it goes. You can't leave it in the judge's hands. Even
and the fight would have happened like Ramos said to us, he's willing to go to Australia if it's necessary. So he would definitely fight him in Vegas.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
no doubt. I think that would have been an amazing fight.
Yeah,
and I don't think there's a cut like that in that fight. So
yeah, but they both are both got one notch on their record against them now. Who knows if that fight will happen? But I welcome it.
Why not? I want all these guys to mix it up. You know. Oh, one more thing. Lara, forgot about him. Man, Lara, like that old man still got it, bro.
Bro, doing good for all the 40+ guys out there.
Hey, I felt good after that fight. Okay, shit.
Though I felt bad for Nonito Donaire taking on Zarafa, man. Taking on Zarafa as a client, I felt a little bit bad. I'm like, come on, you really disappointed Nonito and his wife.
I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. You know what I mean? I saw Zarafa from a distance sitting at the bar, and after the fight, he looked in good spirits. He didn't look too down or nothing. But he'll be all right. I think Zarafa's a good domestic fighter. He could do some good fights.
Well,
there, man.
You brought him up. I know I got to get off the air too, but I do want to put it in the thought of the chat, man, because I brought it up on my show. But if this fight with Fundora the rematch doesn't materialize, I could easily see Tim moving up the 160. I know we were talking about his height. I think he's an opponent like Lara. Lara's only 5'9", 5'10" at most. He's 40+. I can see that being made in-house, and I can see Tim Tszyu beating an older Lara. I could see him snatching up a title at 160. Like David Benavidez not sitting around waiting for Canelo Alvarez. If the opportunity presents itself to Tim to fight somebody at 160, shoot, I would jump on that. I would jump on that.
I could see that. Yeah. Look, we'll see what happens. And we'll just kind of go from there, man. Hey, man, I want to thank you for coming on, brother.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
And I'm ready to go to bed. I'm sure you are too.
Yep. And I'll see you guys. I'll be on the round table tomorrow at the second half, I believe. So I'll see everybody at the round table. Joe Habib Show.
Sounds good, man. All right, brother.
All right, guys. Peace. Take care, everybody. Peace.